Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will listen an English story which will improve your English speaking. And in between, we will also see the meaning of difficult vocabularies, difficult English vocabularies. So let's get started. Once upon a time, there was a King Shuddhodhan and Queen Mahamaya who lived in a place called Kapilvastu. Queen Mahamaya gave birth to a lovely baby boy at Lumbini Garden named Siddharth. Sadly, the queen died 7 days later after giving birth. When Siddharth grew up, a wise man named Kaladevla informed the king that he would witness things that would make him miserable and lead him to flee to the jungle. Miserable means depressing or sad. As a result, the king never let Siddharth leave the royal walls. Siddharth was a bright and cheerful youngster who was compassionate and caring. Here, compassionate means kind. Siddharth and his cousin Devdutt were walking one day. Devdutt observed a swan and shot it down on the spot. When Siddharth saw the injured bird, he was terrified. He drew the arrow from his body and applied some herbs to the wound. W-O-U-N-D. Devdutt wanted the bird as he shot him, but Siddharth declined. As a result, they proceeded to court. The wise man in the court said that the swan belonged to the person who saved it, not to the one who attempted to take its life. The prince matured into a young man. King Shuddhodhan wedded him to the lovely princess Yashodhara. The king thought that when Siddharth married, he would never leave his home. Siddharth, on the other hand, felt dissatisfied at the palace. Let's go for a trip outside the palace. He urged his servant Channa one day. On his way, the prince came upon an elderly man who was hunched over. Hunched over means jhuka hona. The prince had never encountered an elderly person before. He said, "What is that, Channa?" "This is an elderly gentleman," Channa observed. One day, Prince, we will all be elderly." The prince returned to this palace distraught. Distraught means upset, udas. Siddharth went out again after a few days. This time he encountered a sick guy who was wailing in agony. Wailing means to cry badly. In agony, agony, agony means pain, dard. Why is that man crying? Siddharth wondered, having never seen a sick person before. He is unwell, and due to the severe pain, he is wailing. Channa responded. Siddharth was unhappy and returned to the palace. When Siddharth stepped outside the following time, he observed a group of people dragging a dead body. "One day we shall die," Channa said Siddharth, explaining that he was seeing a dead person. Siddharth knew his father had kept him in the palace to keep him safe from these dangers. Do we all have to get old, ill and die? He wondered to himself. Doesn't there seem to be any other options? Siddharth left once more. He noticed a man with a shaved head, orange robes and a bowl in his hand. This time the man appeared to be in a good mood. "Who is that man?" he inquired of Channa. He asked Channa. "That's a sensible man who had abandoned everything and gone to the wilderness to seek happiness." Wilderness means monk type life. Channa said, uh, that's a sensible man who had abandoned everything and gone to the wilderness to seek happiness, Channa said. Siddharth pondered all he had witnessed. Ponder means think. Think. Siddharth pondered all he had witnessed. After that, he made the decision to left home in search of happiness. So one night, while his wife and son Rahul were sleeping, Siddharth secretly departed the palace with his devoted servant Channa. They went together till they reached the Anoma river. Siddharth removed his imperial garments there. He Imperial means royal garments. Imperial garments means royal gardens. Royal garments. He handed Channa his clothing and his horse to return to the palace. He then donned an orange robe. He then donned, D-O-N-N-E-D. Donned means wear, pehenna. He then donned an orange robe, shaved his long hair, and walked out holding a bowl. Do you know the route to happiness? Siddharth inquired of each person he met. Nobody could tell him though. Finally, he sat beneath a Bodhi tree and attempted to solve the problem on his own. He started meditation. His journey came to an end after several days. People began to refer him as Gautam Buddha since he had matured into a knowledgeable man. All animals were cherished by Buddha and he treated them with compassion. Devdutt, his jealous cousin, once dispatched wild elephants to attack Buddha. The elephants, on the other hand, knelt down to Buddha. Knelt down means to sit on knees. To sit on knees. घुटने के बल बैठना. So, the elephants, on the other hand, knelt down to Buddha when they saw him. Gautam Buddha had a large number of followers. He moved from place to place, sharing what he had learned with others. His pupils were divided into Sangha groups. He advocated that pleasure could be attained by being satisfied with what one had and treating all beings with kindness. When Buddha returned to Kapilvastu, he was welcomed by his father, wife and son, as well as many others. Anand, one of his relatives, became Buddha's devoted follower and cared for him as a grew older. Buddha continued to preach for another 45 years. He was already 80 years old at that time. Finally, in Kushinara, he lay down beneath the sal tree and exhaled his last breath. Exhaled his last breath means he died. Conclusion. The conclusion of this story is the existence of mortals in this world is troublesome, fleeting and coupled with anguish. Fleeting means short-lived. So the existence of mortal in the world is troublesome, fleeting means short-lived and coupled with anguish. Anguish means pain, dard. The Buddha remarked, because there is no way for people who have been born to escape dying, death comes with age to each living creature. Wisdom, kindness, patience, generosity and compassion were among the values he emphasized. All Buddhists are bound by 5 moral commandments which prohibit taking the lives of living things. So, this is the story of Buddha. I hope you enjoyed this story and you also learned English speaking through this story. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel for this type of English related content and to improve your English speaking. Thank you.